We're just trying to deceive the Creator. We are giving. There's nothing to give. We just act it out. He also kind of plays along, so it's okay. We are playing a game. We are smart, so we're trying to deceive him. But he's intelligent, so he plays along. He's wise, so he plays along. There's nothing here to give. Everything is that we have picked up from here.
If you learn the way of the tree, if you learn the way of the rock, you will exude grace. So the question is not whether you're in grace or not. Definitely every creature is in grace. Are you capable of exuding the grace that you consume? That's the question. How so many cells are staying together and make your life happen, you don't really know. You have explanations and explanations, but you don't know. If you knew, you would create one right now.
If you do not know how to become an abode of divine grace, there are other simpler ways of getting there. One simple way is to make your life into a giving. When I say a giving, I'm not talking about… it is not to be understood as an act, because giving as an act is a deception. Because what can you give? Everything that we have, including this body, we have taken from this planet. What we can give is only a paltry part of what we have taken. Giving as an act could be very deceptive and could turn ugly. But if your giving is your way of being, if your way of being is giving, and your actions are only a manifestation of your way of being, there is no way to avoid that. If you establish your way of giving, when you open your heart to give, the grace of the divine invariably seeps in. That's inevitable. It is not what you give which makes the difference. It is just that for some reason you opened yourself up. That's what makes the difference. If you do not know how to simply sit here and become a doorway to the divine, giving is a simple way of making yourself porous enough so that the grace of the divine inevitably enters you. It is in setting boundaries that we have denied ourselves the possibility of the divine. Every time we hold back, we set boundaries. And when we set boundaries, we deny ourselves the ultimate possibility. If you become a constant state of giving, when I say a constant state of giving, if your every step and every breath is a process of giving, that is, you have made your life into a contribution, you will naturally arrive at a state of union which will set the necessary foundations for a cosmic possibility. It has been my fortune and privilege that at a very early age, I became a witness to a certain state of giving, a certain transaction which was beyond anybody's understanding who was there, including mine. I have told you, probably many of you, a few times, about my great-grandmother who lived up to be 113 years of age. Because she would never die, people thought she's a devil of a woman. She buried her husband, she buried all her children, a few of her grandchildren, and I think even a couple of her great-grandchildren. But she wouldn't die, 113 years of age. I have seen her in various kinds of states, but it is her sense of giving which needs to be looked at. In the mornings, if she was given breakfast, she would always go about giving away at least 2/3 of it to the ants and the birds and the squirrels, particularly to the ants. And there would be unsolicited advisors around who would say, she's throwing all her food around, this old woman will die without eating. They all died. She didn't. There are many days I've seen her, this little breakfast that was left in her plate, she would just hold in her hand and simply sit there, watching the ants eating. Tears would be streaking down her cheeks. And when somebody asked, won't you eat? She would say, I'm full. I'm already full. I thought she has some kind of an emotional love affair with ants. I was only 3, 4, 5 years of age. She was well over 100. It is many, many years later, I realized there's another way to transact with the world. If the ants ate, she was being nourished. A logical mind would never understand this. This would look like rubbish to a thinking mind. But she was nourished like this. It is this nourishment which gave her an extraordinary longevity. Life happens in many ways. Your nourishment is not just through the food that you eat. Even now, only 25 to 30% of the nourishment comes from the food that you eat. The rest of it is the air that you breathe, the water that you drink and the sunlight. Without these things, you will dissipate. So giving is… First, I want you to understand, you have come with nothing, so you cannot give. We're just trying to deceive the Creator. We are giving. There's nothing to give. We just act it out. He also kind of plays along, so it's okay. We are playing a game. We are smart, so we're trying to deceive him. But he's intelligent, so he plays along. He's wise, so he plays along. There's nothing here to give. Everything is that we have picked up from here. We take a lot and give little, and that's the only way you can live. Doesn't matter how much you give, what you have taken is bigger than what you have given, always. That's the only way life can be. So don't make too much out of giving. It's just a trick. This possibility, it's a simpler possibility than if you do not know anything, if you do not know any other mode of opening yourself up to the creation. This is a simple possibility. just making every act, every breath into your process of giving, seeing how you can contribute to everything around you, no matter what you're doing. You will see, in 24 hours' time, you will be so rich. The experience of life, the beauty of life will set a glow on your face just like that, simply because that's how you are. Because that's the only way life functions. Life, the process of life is a giving. It's a transaction. In every giving, there is a taking. It is just that you ignore the taking, that's all. Not that there is no taking, there is taking. We are taking more than we are giving. But in your mind, you just ignore the taking. You just keep the giving. Because you don't have to take, it'll be pushed into you.
Namaskaram, Sadhguru. I have a question about grace. I'm not sure exactly how to put it, but…
About what?
Grace.
Grace.
Yes. To me, it seems to be a sort of an accidental thing, in a sense. It comes and goes according to… I don't know what, really. I seem to lose it very easily once it's there. I wondered if you could talk a little bit about grace and how it works, or… like here in the ashram, it's very easy to access or to feel it, but once you go outside, it's quite difficult to be connected to that energy or the grace. If you could talk something about that. Thank you.
You're asking me to talk about the fragrance of this flower. How to do that? Only if you have a sensitive nose. Fantastic. Otherwise, somebody has got their nose stuffy today. Means nothing. So, grace means nothing to a whole lot of people. They don't even… It's not that you have to think about it or you have to talk about it. It is just that if you're too full of yourself, only if you're too full of yourself, you can be unconscious of grace. In the sense, you don't even have to go to school and know about planets and solar system and galaxies and stuff. Just as a human being, if you look up, you don't know where this begins, where this ends, in the middle of nowhere. Here you are sitting on a planet spinning and… see, you're fine. Definitely not your doing, isn't it? Definitely you can't do this. Whatever is holding all this up, one title for it, grace. Now, whether you're available to it or not is the question. When we say grace, we are not looking at a certain kind. We are looking at that which is the basis of everything. Because you do not know how this solar system is held in place. You do not know how the whole universe is held in place. You do not even know how you happened, really. How so many cells are staying together and make your life happen, you don't really know. You have explanations and explanations, but you don't know. If you knew, You would create one right now. If you knew exactly how, we would make it, isn't it? So, when there is so much that you do not know and everything is still happening great, obviously, it's not an accident. So whatever is making all this happen, that energy, that force, we call it grace. But now the question is about making yourself available. If you have a stuffy nose, the flower means nothing to you. If you're blind, light means nothing to you. If you're insensitive, nothing means anything to you. So, it is a question of becoming sensitive. Most people are ego-sensitive. They're not life-sensitive. Right now, you have to be cautious about what to say and what not to say to a whole lot of people because they're horribly ego-sensitive. For everything, they will crash within themselves. First of all, you create one illusion. Then you create another illusion of it falling and rising. It's a very bad game. You must be disillusioned soon. If you're truly disillusioned, absolutely, you will always be available to grace. If you have no illusions of your own, you will wonder about everything. How can you not wonder? About everything, about your very existence. If you have no conclusions in your mind about anything, simply here, you will be soaked in grace. Even now you are, but you cannot enjoy it unless you're conscious, that's all. It will not work for you because you are not conscious. It is working for you, but still you cannot fully benefit from that. See, it is a fact, a medically established fact. If two people eat the same food, both of them will not get the same nourishment. Exactly same food, two people eat, they will not get the same level of nourishment because it depends on your ability to draw sustenance from that. So to develop this capability, all of us are in grace, but to develop the capability to draw sustenance from that, so that this life becomes an expression of that grace. See, if you have smelled this flower, this is typical to southern India. Phenomenally fragrant. You think our garden department is pouring fragrance at the roots? No, they're putting filth, believe me. Yes. Even if you put filth, see how fantastic it became, because that's its nature. Because it does that, we are planting that tree, nurturing it, taking care of it, everybody's concerned how it is growing. Suppose it was giving out a smell that was unpleasant to you. Suppose it just took the filth and threw out the filth through the flower. No, we would have taken it out, isn't it? So grace brings many benefits. Once you're exuding grace, everybody wants to nurture it, everybody wants to promote it, everybody wants to be a part of it, because you're exuding grace. Now, the question is not at all about whether you're in grace or not. You are, otherwise you cannot exist. The question is only about, are you exuding grace or are you transforming this into something nasty and letting it out on everybody? Let me tell you a very well-known story in India. It's a folklore. Just about everybody in the country should know this story probably. There was a sage living in the jungle, blind of vision, he has no vision. simply sitting in one place. Rarely people pass this way. When they pass this way, they give him something and he lives by that. No vision. One day it so happened, the king and his retinue of soldiers and ministers, whatever, they all went out hunting. In the hunt, in chasing a deer, a spotted deer, they lost their way and the king got lost, separated from the group because the king has the fastest horse. The best one he rides. So, he went away ahead of them and got lost. They were all searching, they all got lost. And then the soldier came and asked the sage, "Did you see the king?" He said, "No." Then a commander came and asked, "Did you see?" He said, "No." Then the minister came and asked, "Did you see?" "No." Then the king himself came there. Then the blind sage immediately recognized he's the king. "Oh, your people have been looking for you. First your soldier came, then your commander came, then your minister came." The king observed and saw that the person was blind. And then he asked, "Oh divine being, how do you know that first it was the soldier, then the commander, then the minister?" The sage said, "Well, the first one who came said, 'Hey, blind one, did you see our king coming here? Did anybody come this way?' So I knew he must be your soldier. The second one spoke with authority but without respect. I knew he must be one of your officers. The third one, the minister came, he spoke with great respect. So I thought he must be your minister. Now you came, now you touch my feet and refer to me as the divine one, you must be the king. Whether you eat food or breathe or drink water, anything, it is grace. Otherwise, how? 2 parts of hydrogen and 1 part of oxygen becomes life-making water. This is grace. Okay, you can give it an explanation, but you don't know why this should happen, isn't it? All that is happening is grace. Now you drink this, or you eat this, or you breathe this. Will you also exude grace because you consumed grace? You must also conceive grace and exude grace, isn't it? But unfortunately, people take in fantastic things into themselves, turn it into nasty nonsense and lets it out. But look at the tree, you give it filth, it gives out fragrance. It's time. If you learn the way of the tree, if you learn the way of the rock, you will exude grace. So the question is not whether you're in grace or not. Definitely every creature is in grace. Are you capable of exuding the grace that you consume? That's the question.
The concept of creating God is often tied to religious beliefs of various cultures. However, in Hinduism, there are several prominent yogis who are believed to have directly interacted with or experienced with the divine, contributing to the understanding and development of various deities. Here are 5 yogis from Hindu tradition who are closely associated with the creation or revelation of gods. Veda Vyasa. Vyasa is a central figure in Hindu tradition known as the compiler and arranger of the Vedas, the ancient scriptures of Hinduism. He is revered for categorizing the Vedas into 4 parts: Rigveda, Yajurveda, Samaveda and Atharveda, and for composing the Mahabharata, the longest epic poem in the world literature. The Mahabharata includes the Bhagavad Gita, a philosophical dialogue between Prince Arjuna and the god Krishna, which addresses profound questions about duty, righteousness and the nature of existence. Vyasa's role in compiling the Mahabharata is not merely that of an author, but also a transmitter of divine knowledge, as he is said to have received the epic from the gods and narrated it to the sage Ganesha, who wrote it down. His teachings emphasize the importance of fulfilling one's duties, dharma, while maintaining spiritual awareness, serving as a guide for individuals navigating the complexities of life. Vashishta. Vashishta is one of the Saptarishis, 7 great sages in the Hindu history, revered for his wisdom, austerity, and adherence to truth. He is prominently featured in the Ramayana, where he serves as the preceptor of the Ikshvaku dynasty and the spiritual guide of Lord Rama. Vashishta imparts philosophical teachings to Rama, emphasizing the principles of dharma, righteousness, karma, action, and the pursuit of self-realization. His teachings highlight the importance of maintaining equanimity in the face of life's challenges, cultivating virtues such as compassion, humility, and integrity. Vashishta's role as Rama's guru exemplifies the relationship between the spiritual mentor and a seeker, illustrating the transformative power of wisdom and guidance on the path to spiritual enlightenment. Narada. Narada is a celestial sage and a devotee of Lord Vishnu, known for his divine music, storytelling, and travels across the universe. He is mentioned in various Hindu scriptures, including the Puranas and the Mahabharata, where he acts as a messenger of the gods and a catalyst for important events. Narada's Leela, divine play, involves imparting spiritual knowledge to both gods and mortals, often through his enchanting melodies and insightful anecdotes. He is revered as an embodiment of bhakti, devotion, and is considered a role model of devotees seeking a deeper connection with the divine. Narada's teachings emphasize the importance of sincere devotion and the chanting of the divine name, Namasankirtan, as potent means of spiritual upliftment. Agastya. Agastya is a revered sage in Hindu tradition, known for his profound knowledge of Ayurveda, astrology, and the Vedas. He is associated with the Tamil Siddha tradition and is believed to have played a significant role in the spread of Shaivism, the worship of Lord Shiva in South India. Agastya is credited with the composition of several hymns and mantras dedicated to Lord Shiva, which are found in ancient texts such as the Agastya Samhita and the Agastya Gita. He is also revered as a patron of Tamil literature and is said to have introduced the Tamil language and script to the people of South India. Agastya's spiritual practices and teachings emphasize the importance of self-discipline, inner purification, and devotion to the divine as a means of attaining liberation, moksha. Patanjali. Patanjali is revered as the compiler of Yoga Sutras, a seminal text on classical yoga philosophy and practice. He is believed to have lived during the 2nd century BCE and is often depicted with serpent hoods, symbolizing his association with Adishesha, the divine serpent on which Lord Vishnu rests. The Yoga Sutra consists of 196 aphorisms, sutras, divided into 4 chapters, padas, which systematically outline the path of yoga as a means of transcending suffering and realizing one's true nature. Patanjali's teachings elucidate the eightfold path of yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, which includes moral precepts, yamas, self-discipline, niyamas, physical postures, asanas, breath control, pranayama, sense withdrawal, pratyahara, concentration, dharana, meditation, dhyana, and absorption, samadhi. His concise and systematic exposition of yoga philosophy has had a profound influence on the practice of yoga and meditation, serving as a guide for spiritual seekers seeking inner peace, self-mastery, and liberation. These yogis, through their profound wisdom, spiritual practices, and contributions to religious literature, have left an indelible mark in the Indian history, inspiring generations of devotees to seek deeper spiritual truths and cultivate a closer connection with the divine.